and thanks for watching this video from Tutorial Techie. Today I'm going to show you how to install WordPress onto an Ubuntu server 14.04 machine. This is actually, I installed Ubuntu server to a virtual machine. However, if you installed Ubuntu server to a host machine or to your actual computer, the process is the same, whether you're using virtual machines or not. So I need to just log in for the first time. Again, this is a clean install. I haven't done anything to this installation yet. I just installed. So because this is a clean install, the first thing that I want to do is I need to add a user. You can actually use the default user for installing WordPress, but a lot of professionals recommend creating a separate user for your WordPress install. It's just another security feature. So I'll go ahead and add the user blog. Let me type in my sudo password for J Sterling. And now I need to create a new password for the user blog that I'm creating. All right, and I need to give this user a full name, so I'll just go ahead and call this WordPress user. And yes, this information's correct. Perfect. Now that I've created the user blog, I need to make sure that this user has rights to be able to do some administrative tasks. So I'm going to add this user to the sudoer group. So I type in sudo add user blog. Blog is the name of the new user. And then I type in sudo again, and this is going to add the user blog to the group sudo. And hit enter, and perfect, that is done too. So now that I've created this user, I'm going to log out. Log in as the newly created user blog, and I'm going to do everything using that user. So now I'll log in using blog, type in the password that I just created, and now that perfect, I'm logged into the user blog. So now I need to install some software before I even get to the WordPress installation. I need to install a LAMP server and some PHP, a bunch of stuff. Before I do, I'm going to use apt-get to install that software. But before I install the software, I need to update apt-get to make sure that I'm fetching the correct files. So I'll type in sudo apt-get update and then type in the password for blog that I just created. Perfect. All right, now that apt-get is updated, I can use apt-get to install the LAMP server, which is going to be, it's LAMP-server, and then the caret sign. So this is going to install Apache, MySQL, PHP, and actually there's a few other pieces of software that I want to install, so I'm going to do space. This is going to be PHP 5GD, and I want to install the SSH2 libraries. So I'll type in lib ssh2.tac PHP, and all right, that looks good. So I'll just hit enter. This is going to take a little bit of time to install. Yes, I do want to continue. So I'll type in Y. Now when installing this, you're going to be required to set up a MySQL password. MySQL is kind of like a database, and this database is going to house all of your WordPress usernames and passwords and other things. But before we get into the installation of WordPress, we actually have to install MySQL. So we have to give a password for the MySQL root user. How are we going to be able to log into this MySQL database? So I'll go ahead and type in a password now. And then I need to repeat that password, hit enter for OK. And then this is going to unpack everything. Perfect. All right, looks like everything is correctly installed. Now that I've installed all the necessary software before I install WordPress, I'm going to create this MySQL database for WordPress. So I'll type in sudo MySQL tac user root, or tac u space root. Root is going to be the user, and then tac p. And then now I need to enter in the password that I just created for this MySQL database. So whatever the password was that you just typed in, that's what you want to enter here. And now we're in the MySQL software. So like I said, MySQL is used to create databases that store all kinds of information. And we need a database for our WordPress installation, for WordPress in general. So I'll go ahead and create a new database called WordPress DB. So I'll type in the command create database. Really important that you follow capitalization. You can call yours whatever you want, but it's important you do create database and then WordPress DB, semicolon. I'll hit enter. All right, now that the database has been created, I need to create a user that can access this database. So I'm going to create a user And I'll go ahead and call this user WP user. And this is going to be on the actual machine. So it'll be at localhost, identified by, and then I need to give this user a password. So I'll just type in $$W0RD. So this is going to be the WP user's password. Single quotes around that and a semicolon to finish the line. Now that I've created the user, I need to make sure that I grant all privileges to this users so that it can access the database WordPress DB. So I'll grant all privileges on WordPress DB .star, which is just all of the WordPress database to this new WordPress user at localhost. And then semicolon, perfect. All right, so I've created the database, I created the user, I made sure that the user that I created had access to the database. And now I want to, without having to restart my computer, make sure that all of these changes can go into effect immediately. So I just need to type in flush privileges, semicolon, and perfect. So it looks like my database has been set up correctly. I can go ahead and exit out of here. So I'll just type in exit. All right, I'm going to go into my home directory. So I'll change directories into my home directory, and I'm going to use wget to actually download WordPress, or the latest installation of WordPress. So I'll type in wget http://wordpress.org/latest.tar.gz, and I will hit enter. And this is going to download WordPress, the WordPress from WordPress.org. So now that I have WordPress, it's in this tar.gz file, which is a compressed file, and I need to uncompress this file in order to be able to mess around with it. So in order to uncompress this file, I'm going to use tar xzvf and latest.tar.gz, which is the file that I just downloaded, and then hit enter, and now WordPress has been properly extracted. So now that I've properly extracted WordPress, I'm going to go ahead and go into this new directory that should just have been created. Let me type in ls, and perfect. I can see all the files that were just recently extracted right there. All right, I noticed that I have a wp-config tag sample.php. I actually want to rename this to just wp-config.php. So I'll type in cp wp-config sample.php space, and I'm going to rename this to wp-config.php. So now when I type in now that wp-config has been renamed, I need to edit it. So I'm going to type in nano wp-config.php, and that's going to allow me to access this configuration file. You'll see the DB name right here. So I need to change this database name to the database that I just created in MySQL, which was WordPress DB. And then the user that I created that has access to this WordPress database, which was WP user, and then the password that I gave that user, which was $$$W0D. Now that's all I need to do in here, so I just need to exit out. So I can hit Control X and type in yes to save changes, and then hit enter. All right, now that I have modified that file, I actually want to move this entire directory, this entire WordPress directory, to my /var/www/html directory. So I'm going to use rsync to do that. So I'll type in the command right here, /var/www/html. Perfect. That's going to extract everything. So now let's go into this var www.html directory and type in ls and make sure that all of the files have properly been copied. They have been. Now you'll notice that I have an index.html and an index.php file. The index.html file was created by Apache to just say, hey, everything worked and everything's set up correctly. We want to delete that. So I'm going to type in sudo rm index.html because I only want to use the index.php file. So now when I type in ls, good, index.html has been removed. Now I want to make sure that I give proper rights to the www tech data. This is a group so that Apache has the rights to be able to modify the files that are in this WordPress directory. So I'll go ahead and I'll use chown, the command, to do this. All right, so that now I've passed along the rights to all the users in the www data group, And now I need to create a directory for all of the media to be uploaded to. So if you're going to upload pictures or images or movies, whatever you want, we need to have a directory to be able to upload that information to. So I'm going to mkdir or make a directory in the var/www/html/wp content/uploads. It needs to be called uploads. So I'll hit enter. All right, so now that I've created that directory, I need to make sure that the www data group has access to be able to write these files to these uploads. So I'll go ahead and type in, give access to the /var/www/html/wp content/uploads and hit enter. All right, so now I have I downloaded and installed all my the LAMP server. I created a database. I downloaded WordPress. I moved WordPress to the /var/www/html directory. I made sure that the www data users group has access to this directory, and I created an uploads directory to upload all the media that WordPress needs to. So now I'm going to type in ifconfig, and that's going to give me my int address. We can see right there 10.5.60.7. So that's the internal address of this server. So now I need to access this server I'm actually just going to access it on my host machine, but you could access it on any computer on the local network. Let me go to a browser and I'll type in my 10.5.60.7. And perfect. So now I can complete this WordPress installation from my browser. So I'll go ahead and give this a site title of test WordPress blog. I need to create a username. This is the username that I'm going to use to be able to log in to WordPress to be able to create posts and modify things. So the username, I'll give it as J Sterling. Create a password. You scroll down. Let me just enter in an email address here. So I'll enter jsterling@tutorialtechie.com, and I'm going to install WordPress. Well, that's it. WordPress has successfully been installed. So now I just need to log in. So I'll use the username and password that I just created. All right, now that I've successfully logged into WordPress, I'm at the WordPress dashboard. So if I click on posts, I can create a new post right here by clicking on add new and just typing in test. This will be a test post right here. This is a test post. And let's see if I can insert an image. So I'll click on add media, select the file. I'll just grab a random file. Looks like that file was able to be uploaded automatically. And I can click on insert into post. And I can even hit publish. Perfect. So it looks like WordPress is working perfectly, right? I was able to install it, create a new post, insert media into that post. And if I click on view post, it looks like everything's working fine. I can even log out of the database user, return to the blog, and you see the address of my server, which was 10.5.60.7. That's the address that I typed into my browser. All right, so now we're going to go back to the server, and a lot of times WordPress needs to modify this .htaccess file. So we actually need to create that and give some specific rights to that file. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go into the Apache 2 sites tac available /0/default.conf and hit enter. Whoops. I don't want to ano, I want a nano because I need to modify this configuration file. So I'll type in sudo nano /etc/apache2/sites tac available /0/0 tac default.conf. Hit enter. Now that I'm in here, this kind of looks a little bit complicated. I just need to add a few lines to this configuration file. So the first thing that I'm going to add is the server name, and then I'm just going to type in my the IP address of my server, which was 10.5.60.7. My server has a static IP address, so I don't have to worry about that changing. If you don't have a static IP address, then you're going to need to create one because it would be really bad if that changed. So now that I have that, I'm going to type in the directory /var/www/html, everything inside of that directory. I want to make sure that I allow override all, and now I just need to close this tag. Perfect. So now I can save by hitting Control X, hitting Y for yes, and entering to write the file. Now that I have done that, I want to make sure that I allow all these rewrite rules, and I need to actually restart my server in order for this to take effect. So I'll type in sudo service apache restart, and Apache is now restarted. Perfect. All right. Now that we went through all of that, I need to create my my HT access. So I need to touch /var/www/html.ht access file. This is just going to create this file. It's going to be a blank file that WordPress is actually going to write some configurations to. We're not going to modify it at all. Now that I've created that file, I need to make sure that I give some specific rights to it. So I want to give rights to everybody that's in the www data group. So I'll type in sudo chown www data /var/www/html/.access. Hit enter. And I actually want to give, most of the time that's it. I'm going to use chmod to give very specific rights to this file because this file needs to be modified by Apache. I don't want to have to modify this file at all manually. I'm going to let WordPress handle all of that. So I'm going to use chmod 664 /var/www/html/.htaccess. Perfect. All right, so let's go back over to our blog, and I'm going to log into the blog now. So I'll type in jsterling, type in my password. And now that I've done that, I can actually set up permalinks. Before, permalinks weren't, I couldn't have set them up because to be able to modify the structure of WordPress would have required rights that the WordPress didn't have access to, but now it does. So I can go to settings, permalinks, and I tend to like the post name, so it's going to be like whatever your blog is. So mine's http:// and then the IP address of my blog, and now it's going to be / whatever the post name is, not a weird p equals. This is going to be much better for search engines, and it just makes your site look a little bit nicer. So let me save changes, and perfect. Now the permalink structure has been updated. And in order to check this, I can look at that test post that I just created. Notice the new permalink. It's my IP address /test, and I can even click on view post. So perfect. It looks like I have successfully installed WordPress to an Ubuntu server 14.04 throughout this tutorial. I think that that's going to do it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.